Hello everybody! So today on this video we're going to be watching me color in a cute little drawing. I've been really inspired by like princesses and like ball gowns, that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna color in my drawing today with acrylic paint markers. I bought these on TikTok shops because I was heavily influenced. I am not sponsoring these. I bought these from somebody who probably was sponsored. Lucky them. However, I just realized there's literally no brand for these. It literally just says acrylic marker, automatic ink control. I'll tell you what my thoughts are throughout the video. I like the case that it came in. I'll tell you that right now. So cool. Very portable. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so here's the drawing. We will be coloring. I think it's so cute. Love her crown. Like I said, been influenced by princesses lately. These are just a few colors that I wanted to try to get into the piece, incorporate into the piece. So let's start by talking about these markers in general. They're very nicely, like they feel very well made. I really like the nib on the end. It's kind of like a brush nib, but it has more control. It's more stiff than a brush nib. I also really enjoyed how pigmented these markers were right off the bat. Obviously, they're acrylic markers, so they're definitely different than alcohol markers, but there's something about a very pigmented art supply I just love. I love a bold pop of color. So as you can see, definitely pretty streaky for the first application. I'm not really sure why I thought it was a good idea to not go over this a second time, but I didn't. And I think I could have, and it would have maybe provided a little bit less streaky of a base. Something else I noticed with these markers is this pink one was pretty much the only one in the whole set that felt very true to color. The rest of the markers felt very different than like what their cap color said. This is fairly common with markers I find that are not like on brand markers. So I guess I would just highly recommend testing your colors on the side before applying to your piece. Another thing with this set is there wasn't very many good skin colors, like skin tones. So I just kind of had to use what I had. Something I found that was working pretty well for me was applying the darker tone and then taking the original skin tone and kind of blending while it was still wet with that one. I really want to try. I did some research after this and saw a lot of people were actually using paintbrushes while it was still wet and blending between the two colors. And that was so clever to me because it's acrylic paint, and that's what you would probably do when you were actually using acrylic paint. So I definitely want to give that a try because I think the blending could have been better. Yeah, overall, I think if you're going to be drawing a lot of people, I definitely recommend looking for a palette or a marker set that has more skin tone color palettes in it, because this was harder to work with. I do love how creamy the paint was. It was so fun to play around with, and I definitely enjoyed like the actual user experience of these markers. So once I was done using the paint, I essentially just used an ink marker and went over and did the line art for it. I normally use the Pentel pocket brush for this, but I was too lazy and I didn't want to get up, so I just used this Pentel, I think it's called Pen Sign or Soft Pen Signing Pen or something like that. It came in a set of 4, and I actually bought it on a trip when I was like in a bind and needed to get some ink markers or like fine liner ink pens. It was fine. It kind of was slippery on the actual acrylic paint when I was using it, so that was kind of odd. And it's a little too shiny in my opinion, but you know what? We just went with what we had. Now, this is where it gets a little not great. I think using these markers for larger areas is kind of difficult because it's not like a Posca pen where you can buy like the really thick pen and fill in a large area pretty quickly. So I just wouldn't recommend doing a very large area with these pens. But overall, it looks okay. As you can see, it stayed pretty streaky. I'm sure if I did a second coat, it may have been better. And something else I really wanted out of these markers was more vibrant colors, and it didn't really give me that. With that said, though, thank you once again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I can bring some other content like this to my channel because I have a lot of fun trying out different art products, of course. But with that said, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.